Alright, this is see you next time. Today we're looking at am I a festering turd masquerading as a human? We got mothers-in-law being nosy as all hell. We've got random strangers demanding people reproduce. And we got blood relatives throwing money at virtual strangers. Let's get into it. This one's from Positive Balance 3756. Am I an unironic Comic Sans user for doing weird or awkward poses whenever my mother-in-law accidentally walks in on me in the bathroom? So, my mother-in-law, I'm a girl by the way, came to stay with us for a few weeks till her home is renovated for Christmas. The problem is that she has been randomly walking in on me while I'm in the bathroom. Thankfully not once has she seen me naked because I started picking up on her behaviour after the second time in a week. She'd barge in, then turns and says, "Oh, sorry," then close the door. I tried talking to my husband about it, but he kept ignoring me and then flat out said, "So what if she accidentally sees you naked? She's family." He seriously said that. We have a lock and I could have used it, but I have past trauma from the idea of locking or being locked in a room after my brother locked me in the bathroom when I was 5. So I came up with this idea. I'd go inside the bathroom pretending to use it and wait for her to come, because honestly, it's deliberate at this point. When she accidentally barges in, she'd see me in a weird or awkward position. For example, doing a ballet stand, standing on the toilet, or standing facing the wall with my hands up. Fully clothed, of course. I could see how awkward and weird this would be for her, because she'd stand there for a few seconds trying to figure out what I was doing. It was hilarious at first seeing her initial confusion, but she told my husband about it, claiming, "She's caught me practicing rituals in the bathroom." I cleared things up and revealed the reason why. My husband was livid. He called me childish and said that I made his mum feel terrified or weirded out by my behaviour. He said I should have acted maturely and locked the damn door instead of playing mind games. Seriously though, my husband and his mum are extremely upset with me. He still thinks it was ridiculous and is demanding an apology before she goes back to her home. I'm not sure if I will apologise because, yes, while it was a me problem that I couldn't use the lock, it still feels wrong what she did. And maybe I'm wrong too, but at least I got, and so did you apparently, a bit of a chuckle out of it. Also, I'm sure Thanksgiving dinner will be hella awkward tomorrow, especially after what happened. Lol. Yeah, so it's all pretty odd. The mother-in-law seems to be trying to make a point of some kind. Perhaps she wants you to lock the door, or perhaps she just doesn't like you, or even actually thinks you're performing rituals. Whatever. The fact that you can reliably predict that she'll walk in, and I'm assuming we're talking a couple of minutes and not hours, that would be a whole different thing. It's creepy as flip, and she has no place doing it. I don't know why hubby isn't backing you up. I don't know why mother-in-law can't knock. I trust Thanksgiving was delightfully awkward and I hope she's buggered off home. 5% bunghole.
Yes, Mr. President.
I am Cornholio. My bunghole, it goes...
This one's from Mila Throwaway 37. Am I a terrible abomination for leaving a fake pregnancy test in the bedroom to catch my husband's mum snooping? My mother-in-law moved in with us a month ago. I began to notice stuff in my bedroom being touched, furniture rearranged, stuff moved, etc. I felt like I was going crazy because my husband is the only one who has access to the bedroom and he doesn't usually touch or come near my things. I figured it must be his mum walking in and snooping on my personal things. I told my husband and he said his mum would never. I had a huge hunch but couldn't install a cam in the bedroom to catch her in the act. So, I got me one of those fake pregnancy tests and threw it in the bedroom's trash can. Note the trash can was placed in the corner nearest the closet. Literally the next day after I got to work, I get tons of calls and texts from my in-laws congratulating me for my pregnancy. My husband came over to my workplace and was all worked up about it, asking since when was I pregnant and why I didn't tell him. I asked how he found out, and he said his mum found the positive test in the trash can in the bedroom. I asked if his answer just confirmed that she's been snooping in the bedroom all along. He had a realization moment, but demanded we stick to the bigger issue. I said there was no bigger issue because the positive test was fake and this whole thing was done to expose my mother-in-law's snooping. He was not convinced. He had me take an actual test right in front of him, and he was livid, asking how I could lie about such a thing and break his mum's heart, since I know very well that she longs for kids. I got a lot of grief because of this from him, his mum, and his family, now calling me a liar and a manipulator. Am I a terrible abomination? Important info. Nothing gets taken or goes missing from the bedroom, just to be clear. I think this is a really elegant way to catch her bang in the act, though I will say I was expecting her to say, "Oh, I was just emptying your bin and saw it by accident." It's disturbing that your mother-in-law is snooping in your room so often. It's creepy as fiddlesticks, really. However, there's a whole other level to this which is more concerning. I get that hubby didn't want to think his mum was invading your privacy like that, but when your sneaky wee prank put a spotlight on it, the correct response is to have a word and put her in her place. Yeah, you were a bit of a butthole. Yeah, it was probably overkill. But far worse is the invasion of privacy, and then broadcasting your supposed news to everyone and his sodding dog. The correct response from husband is absolutely not to demand he watch you pee on a stick while getting arsey, and then gang up on you with his family while they ignore your mother-in-law's actions. That's actually pretty worrying. I think I'm pretty happy in this judgment. I think OP gets about 15% dong breath. Mother-in-law, hubby and family, we're looking at closer to 50.
Am I a gargantuan flipwit for preventing my sister from being scammed by this guy online by telling on her to my brother and mother? My 20-year-old sister confided in me, a 19-year-old girl, that the guy she's seeing online is about to get kicked out of the house by his parents and has nowhere to go, and she'll be helping him with money from the college fund our mum had set up for her. I was instantly alarmed, as this is a common scam, and even if it wasn't, this guy being kicked out of his parents' house is still concerning about his character, especially since they never even met in real life. I failed to convince her not to do it and begged her to at least let me tag along from afar when she withdraws the money and goes to meet him. She said yeah. But when we went to the bank, she actually made a request for $6 grand. I was shocked and kept hysterically begging her not to do this. She was carrying $6 grand all in cash and going to meet this guy. She got tired of me pushing and yelled at me to leave her alone, and said that she changed her mind about me tagging along. She then just went ahead and hailed a taxi. I hurriedly went and blocked the door and begged the taxi driver to also take me with her. I told him she was irrational and didn't know what she was doing. I ended up going in the taxi with her. On the way there, I called my brother and mother and told them what was going on. My brother said he was coming, and I shared our live location with him. My sister was absolutely mad and said I was horrible for doing this to her when I know how much she hates both mum and brother and doesn't trust them. She also said I had no right to interfere, even if she was scammed or harmed. She then stopped the taxi and ran out and growled at me not to follow. I ignored her and kept following when my brother in his car honked at us. We both turned back, and when I looked back again, my sister had started running while he got down from the car, and we both chased after her. In the end, we caught up. My brother told her he'll be following her all the time until she sees this guy, and he will get him to back off. My sister just broke down in tears and called us all effing nuts, that she won't be going anywhere, and to just leave her alone. We insisted that she come home right away, which she did. She went to her room and slammed the door in my face and wouldn't talk to me ever since. My mum said she will understand in time, when she matures, how big of a favour I did her, and not to worry. But her reaction still ate at me, and I'm not sure if I really did the right thing. Am I a gargantuan flipwit?
Well, I mean, obviously OP did the right thing here. At best, her sister was about to be scammed out of $6 grand in cash. At worst, well, things could have gotten a whole lot darker. Hopefully the mother's right, and in time she'll realise how fortunate she was to have you looking out for her. 0% flipwit, all good there. It's what's not said that's worrying. The sister's behaviour was absolutely not rational. It's not so easy to get to a point where you're walking to meet someone in your area for the first time, carrying a massive wedge of cash to give to them. Well, I suppose unless you're going to buy commercial quantities of drugs, which I don't think is the case here. Her saying that you should have just let her get attacked or scammed is concerning, as is casually throwing out, "I legitimately hate my brother and mother," especially when it does not seem to be at all reciprocated. I could chuck in some assumptions and hazard a guess as to the story here, but the relevant modules of my armchair psychology degree didn't really cover this stuff in the level of detail such that I'd be willing to stick my neck out. Suffice it to say, maybe things are a touch messy. This one's from Healthy Gain 6586. Am I a weeping, pus-filled polyp on the anus of humanity for not letting a mum with a baby in front of me in a long queue and telling an elderly lady to fuck off? I went to a shop today and service there was really slow, with only one register open and no self-checkout, and a really long line of people, with the majority of them having full carts of items. I, on the other hand, had only one item. Behind me was an elderly lady and a mum with a baby. The older lady started telling the mum to skip the queue and go to the front because she's with a child. I turned to her and asked her to speak for herself, and that I do not agree that mum skips in front of me. We started arguing, and I said this checkout does not give priority for pregnant people and parents, so she should wait in line like everybody else, and if she's unable because of a baby, she shouldn't bring the baby to the store with her. The older lady started ranting how she has never seen behaviour like this before, how I will understand when I have my own kids, to which I said, if. Then she started telling me how my life will be horrible if I don't, and how I lack empathy and will regret my decision, to which I told her to fuck off, because I was tired of her bullshit. The older woman and the mum then just kept talking about me and my behaviour between themselves, and the mum then complained how she feels uncomfortable existing in a public space because of people like me. I have absolutely no problem with kids. I don't hate them, they never bother me, and parents in general here are able to control their kids, so they're never a problem. However, in this particular situation, a child was calmly sleeping in a stroller, and I just don't see a reason why she should have a privilege to skip a line, just because she popped the baby out of her vajayjay. Sure, if a baby was screaming, or she was carrying him in her hands, or literally any reason but, "I'm a mom, so my time is more important than yours," I would let her skip without a second thought. I'm just tired of parents feeling entitled, just because, without any adequate reason. Am I a weeping polyp? You know, from the title, I was all set to say, yeah, you're kind of a butthole, but the events were likely funny enough to dial back the rating. But now I think you were well within your rights, and it's still funny as fuck. For starters, what's this elderly Karen doing telling the mother to shove in front of everyone with her shopping just because she's got a sleeping child with her? Shutting that down immediately was probably the right play here. How much stuff she had in her cart would factor into my judgment, but as it's described, I'm assuming she had a full cart like everyone except the OP. If someone offered to let her in, that's one thing, but the old girl deciding that she has the right is quite another. But what really tips the scale is Karenella going all radge about you having kids and how your life will be a terrible waste if you don't contribute to overpopulating this psychotic and addicted society. Then young Karen Easter jumps in with how she feels uncomfortable existing in a public place. An idea so laden with entitled self-pity, I bet there was a puddle of it on the floor. My decree is thus: 10% pus-filled polyp for OP, and 70% for Dumb and Dumber. Thank you so much for listening. It's much appreciated. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Perhaps you'd like to flay your frenemies alive, then wear their skin as a trophy, before clicking the little bell icon and sharing this video with your skinless friends. And remember, most importantly, try and use a healthy balance of lubrication and protection when getting penetrated rectally by life. See?
You.
Next.
Time.